I don't even know where I'm at with my life.
It's 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call to order the February 4th meeting of the Weld RE-5J Board of Education. If you'd take a moment to silence your cell phones and rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
You got a little
Tripping on my stuff. It's fine. We're fine.
Ms. Diagano, would you please call roll?
Here. Here.
Here. Musgrave? Here. Michael Weld?
Here.
Kaden Chambers? Here. Ian Burak?
Here.
Annabelle Roscoe?
Okay. Do we have any changes to this evening's agenda? All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice President Sassano, with Said Director Proctor, to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Diagano, do we have any citizen comments on agenda items? A little drum roll music.
No, keep the suspense going.
Okay, we'll move on to our celebrations and recognitions. Superintendent Nielsen, you want to kick us off?
Sure, thanks President Wales and members of the board. Tonight we're going to focus our celebrations on I can't even think of the right word, a program that our Family School Community Partnership has spearheaded the last few years with postcards at school buildings. And to talk a little more about that tonight, we've got Allie Ham, who done a fantastic job leading the FSCP and building some continuity in what we're doing year after year, but also making sure that community and student voice is a part. And this is a great project. So, Ms. Ham?
I am really excited to have some fabulous young people here with us tonight. Thank you for coming on a busy evening. This project has been a fun joint effort between our Bully Prevention Grants, Bully Prevention and Education Grant, or RE-5J grants, and our Family School and Community Partnership team. So tonight, you get to celebrate our postcard art contest winners and honorable mentions. And these students brought our Portrait of a Graduate traits to life through their creativity and talent, showcasing responsibility at LOL, innovation at Pioneer Ridge, relational skills at Milliken Elementary, and resilience at Milliken Intermediate. We're very excited to showcase artwork that reflects both who they are as artists and who we hope they will become as graduates. If you are here and you decide that your art was a winner or an honorable mention, please come join me up here. All right, do I have Grayson here tonight? Perfect, so Grayson is age 7 and joining us from Pioneer Ridge Elementary. And you will see he's got both his postcard and his original artwork. And our postcards have been signed on the back by a bunch of different adults from there, including principals in your building. As these start rolling out, the blank postcards will be filled in by teachers and sent to hopefully every student in the district to celebrate something good they're doing. So you will see your students' art in the mail or maybe on your friend's fridge, which would be really cool. Do I have Laurel tonight? Okay, she couldn't make it. Laurel from Pioneer Ridge as well. Do I have Sierra with me? Okay. So Sierra from Milliken Elementary. Aubriana? Perfect. Thank you so much, friend. And Aubriana is 7, also from Milliken Elementary. Do I have Alea? This was from Milliken Intermediate School. How about Jameson? Awesome. Jameson is age 9, joining us from Milliken Intermediate School tonight. And I'm worried I'm going to say this wrong. Is it Kiyomi?
Coyote.
Kayomi. I'm sorry I said that wrong, but thank you so much. Kayomi is how old?
8.
8. Great job. And then does that make you Kiana? Wonderful. Kiana, 11. Thank you so much for your art. So we asked these fabulous young artists to tackle words that can be really hard to represent from Portrait of a Graduate, but they all did a phenomenal job, and we very much appreciate their artistic vision. And we're excited to be able to send these cards home throughout the district and recognize fabulous things that are named all over the place. So thank you for your artwork. Thank you for sharing your vision with us. And if you don't mind, we'd love to get a couple of photos of all of you as a group.
Hey, can we have them turn around and show us? We didn't get to see them. Yeah. Oh my gosh, they're so good. Oh, I love these, you guys.
Very nice.
Oh, look at that bear.
Do you guys all
Is that
love
the teddy?
art?
Is that the Roosevelt teddy bear? Say yes. Say yes. So we don't. We both look.
Sure it is. I love it. You guys, job.
Good job.
So they might stand right behind you, and then we'll do a group picture, okay? And I'll have them up. We'll go on the back row, and then we'll. You guys can all get pictures too. So they're gonna stand right behind.
The 9-year-olds are taller than I am.
We still have to put your little head in the middle.
Here, you guys can hold the
Big snap, you got lots of cameras pointing at you.
Come on, get in there.
Oh, you guys are good looking. All the cameras are
I know. Good job, you guys. Good. We kind of want to take them.
And then the winning postcards will also be framed. I'm not sure exactly we'll display them yet, but probably somewhere in the district office we'll have this year's art up for display. So thank you for encouraging your students. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. I think the others that have to celebrate tonight, others have on their docket to celebrate, so I'm going to just.
I kind of missed what you said. Others have.
Others want to celebrate the same thing.
Okay, so.
Just let do it.
You guys have something or anything?
I heard about Palms. How are Palms doing?
Palms are 3rd at nationals and D2 small school.
Nice.
Right, they got the bronze.
Varsity.
Yeah.
It's varsity Palms.
Okay.
Cheers going to nationals tomorrow. No, wasn't there an event today?
There's something going on today, really.
Studious business today?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, so today was our FBLA Business Law Leadership Conference held at UNC. We had 63 FBLA members participate. 23, that's 63, were first place in their respective events, and 41 of those 63 have qualified for state. We also have 9 competitors who qualified for state in multiple events, meaning they were top 3 or 4 in more than just one, and people can only participate in 2 events. We also had a lot of competitors who finished in 4th and 5th place, which is just outside of that top 3 or 4, depending on what kind of event they have. So they definitely have the ability to still qualify for state if students within the top 3 decide not to go. So it was a great day. Roosevelt, we were recognized constantly throughout the awards ceremony by the speaker. Kept hearing Roosevelt. It was Roosevelt over and over again, like it is every year. It's Roosevelt dominance in Greeley every year. But I just wanted to recognize our students and how well they performed today, how well they've performed over the past month or two, prepping for today. And we will love to invite you guys down to the awards ceremony, which will be Saturday, April 4th, around 9 a.m. down at the Gaylord in Aurora. It's a great day today. Really proud of the team, proud of the group, proud of the teammates.
Liam, how many qualifiers again?
41 qualified.
41 qualifiers.
41 qualified. And still, yeah, it was within the 41, but within the 2/3. And we still have lots of people who could definitely still bump up. It's very likely for kids to bump up. Kids within my event will bump up because I qualify for 2 events, so you got to pick only one. So the kids below me will bump up 1. So there's always lots of bump ups. Lots of kids can still get to state. We can have voting delegates. There's lots of ways for these kids to still attend the state leadership conference. Really definitely looking forward to it with how many kids. I think this is one of the biggest years we've had.
And then will you tell the date for the state competition?
Yes, so the state competition is April 2nd to April 4th. That'll be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And on Saturday will be the award ceremony.
What events are you doing?
I have Parliament Seizure. It is myself, Annabelle Brusco, Brandon Johnson, Peter Hollywood, and Emily Sharkey. So group of us, and then I also have my public registration test. So, yeah. Good old boring public funding. Any other celebrations?
Celebrations, or can I, is this my board report to the judge?
If there's no other celebrations, we can transition over to board reports.
Okay.
Board reports? Maybe you want to go first so I can.
Okay. It's still a celebration. So Winter Wish Week Assembly, last Friday. And I can't remember the exact number, but I think it was 2,000, I said? We raised $2,000 as a school, for our Make-A-Wish kid. And then, somebody matches it, right? Cause I saw later that it was like 5,000 total that was donated, so I think somebody matched it on whatever we raised. So I was really proud of our community for coming together and doing that, and all the businesses for giving us a percentage of their sales during that week. But what and probably this is expected, what I was most impressed with was a unified basketball game. I may be a little biased because my brother was the leading scorer, I might add, in that game. But I just want to highlight like how important that is to those kids, and it's truly a unique experience because I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, dang, I can only remember one time I ever played in that gym where it was fully packed like that. But I've never played in front of the entire school as a player for anything. And so that's a truly unique experience to these kids, is that they play in front of our entire school and they have the entire body and staff, the whole school basically cheering on. And so that is like a really unique, great experience that they get to have. So I'm really happy for them. I think the crowd was great. Everyone showed so much support. It made me really happy as a student rep, but also as a sister. And I really hope that, even though it won't start when I'm here, but I really hope we can get the official team started up, because I think these kids, it would benefit them so much to put them out there like that. So that's my celebration.
We had our open house Thursday? Yeah, that was a great day for FBLA. I was on the recruiting table for FBLA. We recruited 40 new freshmen, upcoming freshmen for FBLA. Kids were very excited. We sold $2,300 worth of merchandise in the school store. Just did that, not profit, but that is just straight revenue in 2 hours in the school store. So that was a lot of printing, hoodies, shirts, and hats sold. It was a great day. I know a lot of other clubs, extracurriculars, sports, CTE classes, advanced classes. They all had great times with kids. They were really engaged. I'm really proud of how kind of open they were and excited about the opportunities we have at the high school, how excited parents were, how open they were to kind kind of new things about the school, new things that their kids can get involved in. And I'm really looking forward to what this class can bring.
Should I go?
Yeah, Monica,
Okay.
why don't you kick us off?
I don't know if this is on. I'm really loud. No one ever has accused me of not being quiet I've never been accused of being quiet.
What's that?
Stop. I'm sad that Allie left because I just wanted to, my board report, I just wanted to give her congratulations for what she's at the cottage. Working at the public library, I get so many comments about either how beneficial it is to the community or, oh, I wish we had this that we could have in the community. And I said, well, we actually have that. You should be able to go down here, contact this person. So what a valuable resource that is. So I just want her to know, and I know that she has a team too working her. So for everyone that's involved in that, what a huge benefit that is to the community. So I'm really grateful for that. And then I also just want to congratulate the student. I'm not going to be able to, I don't know the last name, but Lily. Lily is running the Glen A. Jones Public Library mini branch at the high school. What's her last name? So Lily Roth has just, she's getting work experience in how the library runs. It's open during lunch hour. And I think that's just such a valuable resource to have. The public library was able to donate books, so the funding came through the public library. We're utilizing students to run that. So it's just really, really fun to have that little, we consider it an outreach program at the public library, and we love being able to get students there. We want to encourage them to use it, to go to their lunch hour. We want it to be the cool hangout place and have everyone talking book talk during lunch hours. So I'll let Hayden and Liam let me know if that vision comes true, but I'm really grateful that we have that opportunity to share that outreach program. And that's all I have today.
Thanks, Monica.
I feel like there's like a book club at the high school. That should be started, right?
Yeah, yes, you have me at
Yes.
book club, yes.
Book club. Okay, my board report is I've been to basketball games. I think that's about it. Just a couple of basketball games. It's really fun to see everybody out there and just see how they're progressing. And they're doing really well. I've mostly been watching girls basketball, but really proud of the two being out there. And the crowd is always makes me giggle. I love how enthusiastic the people get who are watching. I wish there were more students as enthusiastic as the parents, but the parents are really into it. And the band did great the other day as well. I love when band goes to the basketball games. It's a different dynamic than just the music playing.
We have one of our basketball players starting this CSU, didn't it?
Kyla, yeah.
Yeah. Coach
Nice.
basketball. She's a good softball player.
Want to go ahead, Amy?
I don't have any words to it. I didn't get to go. I wanted to go to the wrestling matches this Saturday and couldn't go. Can't remember why. One of my kids said something else, but I didn't get to go to anything. I'm really boring almost 100% of the time.
Sounds good. I too have watched a lot of basketball recently, high school and middle school basketball. So the parents getting excited is really interesting to all of us.
It really is.
But it's going well. One of the basketball games was the unified team at the Wish Week event, which was really cool to be at. It was a lot of fun to see the students come together and support a cause like that. What I was most impressed with, though, I don't know that I've seen this since we opened the building, and maybe I just haven't been there, but that assembly had, I think, every student in the building, and all of them had a seat in the gym.
Really?
The last time I went to an all-student assembly at the old Roosevelt, they were sitting on the floor to have enough seats. So it was nice to see the space used like we intended it to be used. One other thing I just wanted to call out real quick, and I am also upset that Allie left because I wanted to say something and congratulate her. But a couple of weeks ago in The Breeze, there was a really nice article about the cottage. I don't know if you've seen that, but go check it out if you haven't seen that. It's letting the community know about that resource. And then literally just before the meeting today, Allie came up and showed me, and I'm sure she'd be happy to show it to all of you too, a challenge coin that she has worked with our SRO, our student resource officers, to create this, just like our coins that we give out to the students that come and have an accomplishment. But it's got both Johnstown and Milliken Police Force written on one side. On the other side has all of our school logos.
Nice.
Yep, every single one of them. So our SROs are going to be out in the community looking for positive things that students are doing and handing them that challenge. So if you have a chance to catch Allie and grab one to see what it looks like, I encourage everybody to do that. But it's exciting to see those kind of things happening in the community. And a lot of that work, I know she would never take credit for this, but a lot of that work doesn't happen without Allie. So I just wanted to give her some kudos and a shout out. So that's it.
So are they gonna take a penny from us if they catch doing something bad?
Pennies are going out of style, man. Pennies are being phased out. It's gonna be a nickel.
Food's inflation.
Well, I had an opportunity to attend the Wish Weekend as well, and you're right, Hayden. There was a special enter in the gym that day, and it like if you were in a bad mood, there's no way you were in a bad mood when you left after that game, because I mean it was so much fun, and you're right, it was so much fun to watch the student body be as involved as they were in it. That's what was exciting, because I mean you could, like, everybody was like, and or so yeah, that was a great, and that's really one of the first events that I've been to as well where there's been that many people in the arena. Speaking of games, don't forget you can watch it on YouTube and wrestling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is kind of nice if you're just tired and old at the end of the day. And old. No, I'm old. That's why I know about it, because I'm old. Like, we're way past my bedtime already. I got to judge today at FBLA, and that was a lot of fun. I didn't see any Roosevelt kids I was doing sales presentation. Nobody from Roosevelt was, but I did see a lot of Roosevelt students at other stations. So yeah, that's always fun. And it's I didn't go last year. I had something going on last year. That was one year I missed, but I've been doing it ever since I've been on the board, and it's always I always enjoy it because it always gives me so much insight into what's happening actually in our schools, and not just our schools, but all of our schools. A lot of sharp kids out there. We're heading in a good direction. Our future is heading in a good direction. God, that's really all I have. I did want to say, again, I want to thank our team for all the hard work they put into the mailer now. On Sunday at church, I had so many people coming up to me and paying compliments to it. And a lot of them are people who just don't have kids in the district anymore or never did. And so it was interesting for them to be able to see where their tax dollars had gone and the difference in the needles that were moving in the district. And yeah, just overwhelmingly strong support for that. I think that was a good idea. Thank you, Vice President Sassano, for pushing a little harder on everybody to get that published, because I think that was a good move to allow these people to really know what's happening in the schools and how their money was spent and how effectively and used. So that is all I have. Anything else that got missed? All right. Well, we move on to the report from the superintendent's office.
Thanks, President Wales, board members. So there are a couple different ones tonight, but just think about what's happened or what I've been participating over the last couple of weeks. I've had a chance to attend one of our girls' wrestling matches at Roosevelt High School. It was awesome. Kudos to this board for making that part of our repertoire at the high school. So awesome to see a Roosevelt team, and they're dynamic and good. I had a chance last night to attend the wrestling match at Roosevelt Middle School, and again, you see it's a powerhouse, right? We got a good program there, a feeder program, and it's really neat to see how many wrestlers and the energy we have and how intense our wrestlers are even at that age. So that's pretty neat. I also attended several basketball games, and it's great to see both of our teams playing well. Both of our teams, I think, have a chance to make some noise as we get into the tournament, which is pretty exciting. And our boys have come a long ways in just a couple of years, which is pretty neat to see, and a testament to the adults that are helping and the hard work of the boys that are playing. I want to call out Annabelle Rusko. She was recently recognized for her internship with Johnstown Milliken Rotary. And that's just another example of the opportunities I think that our high school are creating for youngsters. Annabelle has been doing that for 2 years, running the social media page for the Rotary in Johnstown Milliken. But in some of what he has done, if you look at the Facebook and the social media presence that Rotary has for the JM Rotary, it's far different than it was 2 years ago. But we have other Rotary clubs now asking for help from Annabelle, asking for Annabelle to do a trade or whatever. And one of the things she did early on for me, for the group, but it was fun to watch, was simply a 2-minute tech challenge. And so every Rotary meeting, you take our phones out and for 2 minutes, take a look at what's on our media, what's on other people's social media, and what do we want to showcase or highlight or like or whatever. And it creates a presence for some of us in there that haven't done a lot of social media Rotary. So she's had a big impact on the Rotary here. And again, that's a paid internship she's had with Rotary for 2 years now. And it really is neat to see what she's been able to do. But the experience she's created and the way just that experience helps build her resume is pretty neat. As I'm highlighting that today, I think we heard about FBLA, and Annabelle was on stage kind of guiding a lot of the FBLA today, right?
She was the district officer, so my boss for the past 2 months.
So it's these experiences, and that's just two through the eyes of one individual. But I thought, being that she's one of our board members, it made some sense to call her out, and I'm sad that she worked hard enough, I think was still there when we heard just before the meeting started that she was still wrapping up over at UNC. But she's doing great things, so I just wanted to call that out. And then the other, one of the things I wanted to share, you all have a piece of paper, white paper, that is an article that will go out a week from Thursday. But I wanted all of you to have it because in our one-on-ones, this process of working toward some electric buses, it has ebbed and flowed. It's changed a bit. At one point, we were asking for 6 buses. Then the Excel changed to only 3. In the end, we were awarded 3 different grants by 3 different people. You can see some in there. But between all the 3 entities, they've walked us back to 6 buses that will be for the district. And it's a little over $2.5 million just in buses. And what also comes with those grants is the charging stations. We'll have 4 charging stations at Roosevelt Middle School. And then part of the grant was to be able to run a emergency management center. And since we have we're already set up at Roosevelt Middle School, if we needed to run emergency management center with power out, we could do it there. We can also do it at Roosevelt High School. So the other 2 buses with what they call level 2 bi-directional chargers will be at Milliken Elementary, which will allow for our buses to be used as sort of life support, if you will,
like giant batteries, right?
Giant batteries for Milliken Elementary if we needed Milliken Elementary be an emergency management center. Which, if you go back to when we had our floods and we had both towns that were sort of mini islands on some level, that could be beneficial, helpful, and so. Pretty excited. I think it's a pretty neat opportunity for our district. It also gives us a chance to pilot vehicles for free. Electric buses cost quite a bit more than the regular buses, but it allows us to try them and see what we like. We've heard they're fast, or maybe it's quick.
Quick.
They're quick. And so
No,
there's.
not fast. They're safe.
Yes, they're quick, so you drive them differently, right? You actually have to feather them off the line instead of, right now you gotta push the gas pretty hard to get them going. So we've got some drivers that are excited about it. Again, it's a nice add to the district as we move forward. And the grant desire is to have everything ready to go by December 31st of 26. Our push is to try to have it ready to go for the beginning of the school year. The RFP's out as we speak right now, and so we'll have a better sense of that as we get closer to what the RFP tells us. And so we wanted you to have a look at that before it goes out publicly, just to make sure you all are clear, because I have been all over, just trying to keep you up to date on where we were with this grant. And then the last thing I'll share tonight is I just wanted to put in the room that we've had conversations over the last several days to talk about some of the opportunities our district has or needs to dig into around sizing different pockets in our organization. And we've had a chance to be with several different groups over the last several days, and individuals in our district have been super responsive, creative, in problem-solving mode, and that's been neat to see as we start thinking about areas that, as we made a budget, passed a budget, we may have missed on projections, and that gives you as a district an opportunity to right size and make sure that how we position ourselves is based on what we know in the current moment. And so we're working through that, and we look forward to coming forward with some more details around that in the future. But I wanted to let you know that so far things have been fruitful conversations, and the people we've had a chance to engage with have been awesome. And that's it.
Okay, any questions for
Yeah,
Superintendent?
I have a question. So I thought you maybe addressed this, but do we have plans to have a special or emergency session on our budget?
At some point, Director Musgrave, we will. We are bringing in a person to help us look at it. And so getting that person in that'll help us look at the budget. And she's already begun to look at, but getting to a place where she can help drive that, the answer is yes. And
Waiting on information, basically.
what's that?
Waiting on information.
We want to make sure when we have the conversation is with the right numbers, right? We want to make sure that we have some idea what's there and what depths are. I think we owe that to you as we move forward. We don't just need to look back, but we need to take a look back and then what are the steps going forward? And that's some of the work I'm doing.
And you might not know the answers to this, but the 2.7 million, is it 2.7, in reserve, do we have that?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
And then the preliminary budget, the deficit 830 odd, that in addition to, is that including the area, the problems we're having? Or are we looking at that in addition to problems we're discovering?
So good question, Director Musgrave. At the latest we have heard, and again, this is partly what we want the outside individual to help us work through, is the potential for needing to use a little bit of the reserve you just talked about to close the gap with where we are, right? And so
I would like in those meetings, I mean, we can all look at the budget, but I would like, when you're working with this individual, I would like line items, highlighted, whatever it is, of the inaccuracies, so the board can be presented with where the issues are. I'd also like to request the expenditures that were not approved by the board over the last year. We need to figure out where all our money is going, and fast. So if we could have that and just have it prepared for that meeting, I could put that request in there if you'd like, but I think the board needs a lot of information. I appreciate it. I appreciate your work on it.
Any other questions? Okay, well, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by a single motion. Most of the items listed on the consent agenda have gone through board review and recommendation. Documentation concerning these items has provided to all board members and the public in advance to ensure an extensive review. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion by Director Johnson, a second by Director Musgrave to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any comments on the motion? I just want to take a moment and to thank Mr. Everett's service to this district. Probably one of the most unique times this district has ever experienced with the pandemic, all the funding challenges that came up, the new funding that came, the new funding that left, and then handling the bond project. That was we just got done talking about the success of that. And so just want to recognize the service that he gave to the district during probably a difficult time. Hearing no other comments, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we will move on to our next. Does anybody need a recess? All good? You guys all good? We'll move on to our first item of special business, which is our K-5 literacy curriculum review.
So we've got with us Karen Weiser and a team that has spent the better part of over a year and a half taking a look at would be beneficial for our district. And they're with us tonight to share steps they believe would be beneficial for us moving forward as a district. Karen, it's all you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nielsen. Thank you, President Wales, members of the board. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to share with you the work that our team over the last 18 months has engaged in. I am joined with members of our educator-led committee that embarked on this kind of journey over the last bit that we'll share with you. So I have Tucker Willard, Emily Newhart, Patsy Bernheide, and Kelly Broderick, and they'll share some things with you here as well. So give a little context. About 18 months ago, as I mentioned, so the fall of 2024, we brought together a committee to engage in conversations of exploring a new literacy curriculum to be adopted. As I've shared with you in the past, some of our ELA data at our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade elementary has remained lower than our state average in achievement. We also have encountered over the last 2 years of our current system adoption inconsistencies in implementation, coherence between classrooms and schools, creating inequity with resources. So we knew together that we needed to identify a proposal moving forward in service of our students to ensure that they receive the appropriate instruction in early literacy, which we know provides success later on. So we worked together we identified those needs, needing to align with Colorado State standards, science of reading, and ensure that we have high quality resources in our classroom. So as I mentioned, the large committee, we have representation across all of our schools, all of our grade levels. I forgot I wasn't looking at you to tell you I was moving around. I just moved it on my own. And then I noticed it moved, and I was like, oh. So we had a large group of administrators, educators, all different grade levels, really bringing in a lot of expertise and background in the area of literacy. And so together, we went through, next slide, Our timeline, we started, like I mentioned, in the fall of 2024, and instead of jumping straight to a solution, we discussed our needs. So we identified our needs, we engaged in a strength, weakness, opportunity, threat analysis, we outlined current practice. We really dug into what are we doing right now, what is working and what isn't working. Looked at data, and then ultimately established goals and criteria for moving forward to find high quality resources. Through that time, we look at 5 different elementary or early literacy K-5 curriculum programs, engaged with different publishers. We reached out to other districts utilizing programs already, and then even had our team do a mini pilot to explore different programs and products. And so through that, then we came to a conclusion through consensus of what would be best for our students. We did take a pause last May. I hope to bring that to you at that time, and it wasn't the right time. So we took a pause, and then we resumed our work this last winter, and knew that what we had come, the conclusion we had to present to you in May, we still felt very strongly with. And so that's where we are here today, asking for your approval. And then we'll go into kind of what that would look like after, if we are able to move forward, what the plan will look like.
So we had a shared goal, and as you can see, that's a huge goal. But we had all the, a lot of times when you're looking at curriculum, I've done this a lot of times over the last 8+ years that I've been in education, and it's a pendulum a lot of times. You get the, all right, this is what this curriculum was bad, so then you go completely opposite and you never find that thing in the middle. So what we've done with this, and the same thing we did when we adopted a math curriculum, is we really looked at what do we need and what's going to be best kids. So Karen helped lead the One West Bridges and has done a good job with this as well. But we wanted to make sure that we started with Tier 1 instruction, so that's like the instruction that we give to all of our kids, and that like all the kids get that same Tier 1 instruction. There's a strong focus on the science of reading, which just making sure you have those good reading skills for kids, which our other curriculum didn't have as strong as like what we're looking at. We wanted explicit instruction as aligned standards. We wanted to support our teachers, because when we support our teachers, that ensures that the students have access to that risk-engaging literacy instruction. So in this process, even when you look at the committee members, we even had preschool represented, which there's not many programs that are preschool up, but when we talked about our different programs, they were able to say, yes, this ties in, what we're doing in preschool will lead into this, so it'll be a more of a seamless transition for our kids. So that was kind of always a great thing. So.
Before I start, I'm Emily New, teach 4th grade at LWell. I've been a teacher in the district for 17 years. In that 17 years, we've had 2 literacy curriculums. I also am a mother and chose to raise my family here because I believe in our schools. We are recommending Benchmark Advanced. It is a comprehensive K-5 literacy program focusing on reading, writing, speaking, language, listening, all the standards that we need for literacy. It is evidence-based literacy best practices for the science of reading, which all the school teachers have been required to take our the Read Act training, which is all science of reading. So we've been taking these classes and learning about reading, but yet our curriculum that we've been using in the classroom really did with that. So we really need something that did fit with that. It's balanced in our informational and literary texts across grade levels. Again, with this of reading, the systematic instruction of foundational skills.
I'm Patsy Burnhay. I'm an instructional specialist in the district.
The instructional design that Benchmark uses not only uses our science of reading that we've talked about, but it also uses our most current brain research. How do our kids actually learn, and where are we needing to connect for them so that it builds their knowledge as we Benchmark employs authentic text. It has science. It has social studies. It entailed so many different things across our curriculum that we struggle with during a day to get everything in. Benchmark will help us do that. It also vertically aligns. So our kindergartners start out and it spirals through, so it deepens their knowledge. It's not a one-off, oh, I had the story about frogs. They're going to learn science and social studies all the way through. And our teachers that were piloting found our kids super excited to get to use this material. It is also very strong in the diverse needs that we have in our district. We know all of our children don't learn the same, and Benchmark supports our teachers and our students in reaching where they're at with high expectations to help them grow. So we have a lot of differentiation and scaffolding that our teachers can do with the new curriculum if you are willing to support it.
Hi, I'm Kelly Roderick. I teach kindergarten at Milliken Elementary. So I actually was one of the teachers that did pilot this. And we did it later in the year because that's when we got through the process. And my kindergartners were so excited about it, so engaged in it. So that speaks volumes that these little 5- and 6-year-olds were like, can we do this again? Can we do more of this? It increases rate, ensures consistent access to grade level content, and it does have high expectations for all of the students. It has many different components that go along with it. Provides comprehensive, actionable assessments to inform instruction and intervention. So it doesn't leave the teachers just wondering, how do I assess this? How do I know if this is doing what it's supposed to? It guides us with it. Demonstrates high usability for teachers and students, and it aligns with our district instructional priorities identified through our impact teamwork, which I've been part of that for 3 years, I believe. I've been doing the impact teaming. A side note with this is that I just completed my master's degree, and I did my capstone based on Benchmark Advanced. I was kind of exploring, does it meet needs of diverse learners? That was my focus of it. And recently, yes, it does.
So as you heard, the positives that we encountered in engaging in looking at Benchmark Advanced, and as Kelly mentioned too, work ahead of us or prior to this and alongside, we've engaged with our kindergarten through 5th grade teams on teaming, as we've shared some celebrations with you in the past. And that also allowed us to dig into those standards and develop that clarity, which I believe really helps us evaluate a curriculum because it is a key resource. But we ultimately need to know what are the standards that our students need to know and be able to do so they can then teach and use that resource. So I think Kelly's work in that really, and all of our teachers have helped really dig in to make sure that our assessment recommendation is a wise one. So I do have a summary of our investment. Something to lean into, these are estimates based on current rate. These will change slightly based on enrollment and budget, adopted budgets. So this is just per gen, and then we'll continue to work through an implementation team to explore further. I do want to note that we have applied for a proactive grant at the Weld Trust to support this investment. We've engaged with the Weld Trust. We've received positive feedback on the potential of a proactive grant because their value as well aligned to early literacy. So that is actively being reviewed. I don't have further details on that, but that has been submitted and is hopefully a partnership with this work. So implementation roadmap, just to kind of highlight, I shared with you our timeline getting to this spot, but I wanted to share what next. So in moving forward, upon board adoption, What we will start to do is strategic planning. Once we select a curriculum and we have your support with that, our work isn't done. In fact, the work is just beginning. The tool is what we need, but work ahead of us continue. So if adopted, we would begin strategic planning for implementation this spring, partnering with Benchmark Advanced as an implementation team, which we'll share a little bit about. We've also positioned our planning in a way to provide our teachers early training this spring rather than a late adoption or a late training. So kind of the silver lining on our pause last spring is to allow us to be able to provide training and support to our teachers, set them up for success, ultimately for our students. So moving forward, we would engage in an early watch training late spring, and then allow our teachers who are interested start to explore and become comfortable with the tool that they'll be using in the future. I believe, and we as a team believe, this really sets our classrooms and our teachers up for success starting in August, when we all know kind of running full speed ahead. And then receive materials. But I think the key here, and we'll share a little bit more, is an implementation team. Once we're done, and actually I'm jumping ahead, I'm gonna let Patsy go ahead.
I was like, you go ahead. So we are looking at the success for our students, and we want to make sure that what we're implementing and how we're implementing it brings them the growth that we would like to see. So we are going to take throughout year one and probably beyond that. We have a team that will have a representative from primary and intermediate at every school, administrator from every school, and other instructional leads as appropriate, and our executive director of curriculum instruction and assessment. And what that is going to look like is those people that are boots on the ground teaching this and immersed in what we're doing are going to be a part of this committee that says, how is our pacing? Did our strategic plan, is it looking like that is where we need to go? Do we have other needs? What are our strengths? What are our concerns? So we're going to have our teachers throughout the year meet every quarter and say, where are we and where are you and what kind of support do you need, so that we can ultimately make our students successful.
We go to the next one. So just in closing, we're aware that it's going to take some hard work. But what I've found with our teachers, if it's what's right for kids, they're not afraid to put in the hard work. So it'll be a lot more in-depth and rigorous for not only the kids, but also the teachers. And I think we're ready to do that. We've seen that with math. They're like, there's a lot here, but we're willing to do it because it's what for kids. So I think this puts us in what's right for kids. So I appreciate you taking the time to consider this. Hopefully we'll be able to move forward with it.
I want to open up to questions. There is a quite thick informational packet from Benchmark Advanced with some information. We also have materials for review at any time here and for each grade level if interested. And I just wanted to thank you for support and really encourage you to consider this. I believe this resource, Benchmark Advanced, is really I think it's a high quality resource. I think it will provide our teachers tools to ultimately help our students as they develop their foundational reading skills for success as they continue through Weld RE-5J.
Yeah, I thought maybe this was the whole curriculum.
Just like one little matter of it.
Director Parker, do you have a question?
I do. I have several questions, probably too many questions. The first question I have is, what are we currently spending on literacy curriculum currently?
So good question. So our current curriculum that we adopted it 8 years ago, and we really go through a multi-year contract. So we purchased that curriculum, and I don't have the exact dollar from the 8 years ago. I have it, I just don't have it on the tip of my tongue. But we purchased that in 2018 over the course of the use of it. We haven't purchased core curriculum. We do purchase resources, external, Lexia, certain supports. But for core curriculum, it's a multi-contract. So the investment, the amount for materials and digital is over a 4-year period. We've historically done 4 to 6 years. Obviously, the longer the years, the larger the investment you do save. You have a larger investment over time. This current year, we did not purchase core curriculum because it was a multi-year contract that was purchased in 2020.
Okay. And then my other question is looking kind of through this, it looks like there's a mix of physical and digital resources.
Yep.
If this is a 4-year contract, after 4 years, do we need to renew the contract to continue digital resources?
That's a great question. So our 4-year contract would be over the 4 years. So we would have access to digital the entire time, and then we would have access to consumables over that 4 years. So each year, there are lots of consumables. There are all of tangible, hands-on materials in addition to digital. So our 4-year, multi-year contract would include those. Now, something that will fluctuate, which we do have some minor increases in enrollment, not the minor increases in enrollment, but minor increase in purchasing consumables. Each year we do purchase a few thousand, not a significant dollar amount of consumables to account for any increased enrollment. So this doesn't predict that increased enrollment. There could be an expense there, but then after that 4 years, in the case of curriculum, we then either need to review what's working and what's not, and come to this process. But hopefully, we are seeing the outcomes that we have moved forward, and then it's just a purchase of a renewal each year. And so it would be a digital renewal and then whatever consumable renewal. And we encounter that with many of our curriculums that are in place right now throughout K-12. So
I have 2 more questions. I'm sorry. My other question is, does this also cover intervention? Like the kids who are like reading intervention, are they using the same curriculum or is that something completely different?
So great question. So what we're asking for is what Tucker and the team has referred to as Tier 1. So it's the instruction and the resources that all students receive. So ensuring that we are meeting Colorado standards, having high expectations, and allowing our students to really shine and grow as we want them. When this is not specifically for intervention, as you're mentioning, Tier 2 and Tier 3 do have resources current that we may in the future need to look at as well. But what we're asking today is Tier 1, what all students have access to. So Benchmark Advanced, as well as other companies, do have a Tier 2 program and Tier 3 program, but really as been engaging in our teaming and identifying clarity on our standards, really making sure we are focused and intentional about our Tier 1 instruction that all students should have access to. So that's what we're asking for today, and that's what this will do. There are differentiated components to allow for differentiation, but in cases where students have that Tier 1 resource not supporting, then we need to look at the resources.
We find when we have a stronger Tier 1, not as much need for the Tier 2.
Okay.
I mean, the Tier 3 is more, so you're probably just doing that, but when you have a solid Tier 1 and your kids are growing, even kids that might be a Tier 3, they can have a solid Tier 1, the more they're going to grow. So.
And I'll have my last question before everybody else can ask questions. I have a question because looking through this, it looks like there's quite a bit of digital resources like books and assessments like digital, that type of thing. I am a little concerned that is like on some of these novels and stuff that look like they're all provided digitally, what are you doing to accommodate or have access or paper stuff? Because I know that's controversial, but I would still like to see younger grades still have access to tangible items versus the digital items. And is there a way to do the assessments in a paper-based versus the digital-based that can go through there?
So the materials, digital materials, they're in this particular program. One of the identified strengths of the program is how many print physical materials there are. So all of the student decodables, primary students who receive decodables throughout their units are all print materials. And print materials for all grade levels, including what they call magazines for students to annotate on. So everything comes print. Digital is an enhancement.
Okay.
So in cases where we need additional resources or students are working on thing and there's a need for access, there would be that digital access, but there is a significant amount of print resources with this particular curriculum specifically. And then as in terms of assessment, there are options to do print and digital. As we continue assessments, data collection, we do find there's great benefit to the digital assessments, not just for ease of data collection, but preparing our students. Many of the assessments they're going to take from 3rd grade and on are digital. So I was actually just speaking to a neighboring district just today, partnering with, which is a great piece of this. There are other districts utilizing this ahead of us that we, if moving forward, would have amazing partnerships with to kind of for each other. But I was talking about this very specifically, and there might be less use of some of that in that very early grades, but they're even seeing great success with that, just with assessments. So I know you mentioned assessments, but with the instructional materials, there is a significant amount of print.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
My question is for Kelly, is Roderick, say that right? Congratulations, first of all, on your master's. I think that's wonderful. And I was hoping you could give us a little insider info. You piloted it with your kindergarten class, and maybe just give us a glimpse of what entailed. What did the students see? How were they learning? How were they engaging? So it's a little bit more inside.
So I didn't pilot the whole thing, that would have probably been
impossible.
But I did some of the magazines that Karen referred to, and I did some really, really amazing vocabulary worksheets where they were really even at the kindergarten level, picking apart parts of speech, which they understood the way it was presented. They absolutely adored the magazines. They each get their own little copy and they could, write in it and follow along. So I did that. This was in May. I think of some of the other things. They have stuff in there. I didn't engage with that. We did do the decodables, and it's really neat because you can take those decodables and differentiate where your kids are at. So I was able to say, this group gets this decodable. And they are, I would venture to say, 100% decodable. Where what we have now, lots of teacher guided in kindergarten because they cannot decode the words that are in. But the decodables were a big hit as well.
I can add to that a little bit. As a 4th grade teacher, I also piloted a little bit of it. Like she said, we didn't get the materials till May, and May, crazy. Yes. Yes, the little magazines that they get, it belongs to them, and we annotated as we were reading. We did all kinds of little, marking up and pulling apart the text. They also had some fluency passages and or morphology practice or whatever in a print that belonged to them, and we turned it into a game, and they would time themselves, and we just did all kinds of fun things with it. I'm interested as a teacher to see the digital side of it because we were doing the print materials, and so I'd like to see a balance between the print and the digital materials, and maybe use some of the digital side as independent work when I'm working with a small group so that the students are still practicing independently, maybe using their iPads for things like that when I'm working with other students in a smaller setting, more one-on-one or two-on-one.
And if I could add to the digital component of it, just like I said, I used this for my capstone. And what I thought was really good, which would kind of head into a tier 2 almost, is those texts that are in Benchmark Universe do have the speech to text. So kids that would need that, it is right there with it.
And Monica, just to kind of tie that together, just as the program is structured, you've heard our team mention aligned with the science of reading, which is not new research, but so much research over the years, and thinking of the reading rope and all of the foundational skills to really grow our students from learning to read to readers. And so with the program, as you've mentioned, as they've mentioned, different components aligned with or embedding phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary. It's got a very strong vocabulary component. Very scaffolded in terms of teacher guidance, but also exploration from students and independent work. Something also that I don't think we've mentioned as much as we should is it is also connected writing. So it is a full comprehensive writing scope and sequence as well. So not just our reading, but bringing in that writing as well, so that our students can read and write about what they're learning. And so that's part of it too. General lesson or a general day will include, depending on the grade level, that word study, vocabulary, authentic writing experiences, and that will look different at each grade level, but that's woven into a daily kind of what it looks like as the teacher is engaging with the students.
I know, I meant to ask you about the cost 8 years ago, but what is our current yearly cost for our contract with the current company?
There is no contract. We're out of contract. Yep, it was paid for in 2018, and we've only, over the last couple of years, purchased consumables that are needed. So that generally runs about $5,000 to $8,000 a year, off the top of my head. So don't quote me on that exact number, but it depends on the consumables. But we haven't purchased any core adopted curriculums 2018.
So after this initial cost and your initial contract, there's no yearly fee after?
No, the only yearly fee is professional development, which depends on, and the more we can build our years within and become more and more, become stronger within the curriculum, we can pull back on the external professional development and really have that embedded. So professional development is potentially an annual cost, and then any increased enrollment. So if we have 1,490 students this year, and what we purchase, and then 27, 28, we have an influx of 100, we're going to need to account for those consumables, but it's not the full package. You're not purchasing the teacher resource packs, which is the level of the guides for our teachers, which is a significant component, and then the digital. So yeah.
Having these that are using the same curriculum helps with that PD component too. Sometimes you can get the sales pitch if you're in the company, but then you can see if you're still using it. That's super helpful. And we have great relationships with the neighboring schools that can help us.
As far as training, will you all take on the responsibility of training other teachers how to use this curriculum, how to use it correctly?
So in our first year, we have a tentative professional development plan that will flush out as we do the strategic planning. But year one we will have intervals. So April, ideally, we have that launch where teachers just get their hands in it and start to become familiar with the language themselves that they'll start to encounter, structures, routines. And then in August, when our teachers return, a full day of digging into the curriculum, planning, and so that initial training. We're only ready to learn what we're ready to learn at that moment. So then regular intervals, that first year would be primarily partnered with Benchmark Advanced. We're not experts yet in it, so wanting to learn so that we make sure that we have what the curriculum is intended to provide us, and we can learn that. But the ultimate goal is to internally learn it, almost like a train-the-trainer model over time, so that we can pull back that need, but they're always there if needed. So the current plan would be to have regular intervals when our teachers are ready, that just-in-time instruction. So later in August, September, another touch base with the trainers through Benchmark Advanced, and then digging into around October. And so a very intentional plan, and then pulling that back a little bit more year two. And then I foresee future years. I don't know what I don't know yet until we're into it, but I foresee us pulling that back and really owning that internally with ours. And I think that implementation team will be able to help us with that.
The really cool thing about having the potential to start in April is that teachers can get their hands in it and look through it through the summer when they have time. Mm-hmm. They will. They're thinking about, if we wait until August, which we usually adopt, we get it in August. You're thinking about, how am I going to set up my classroom? Right, yeah, good, you told me about that stuff. And you don't have time to really dig into it and get your hands dirty. So I think that's a huge benefit by our proposal here.
Do you all foresee the teachers in the district embracing this? I know change is sometimes hard, with curriculum changes for teachers, do you foresee, I know that there will be a mix, but do you foresee mostly excitement over adopting this curriculum through your experience?
I do, and our teachers in the classrooms day in and day out can probably speak to that.
I mean, when I was piloting last spring, my teammates were like, what do you think? Like, they were very interested. They wanted me to show them, and they helped me unbox things a little bit and go through it. They were very interested and excited about it. I will say, from a teacher experience that I have, the teacher manuals that like lays out for you and show you like spend this much time on this or whatever is very teacher friendly. It's not something where I look at it. Yes, it's a lot, but I don't look at it and go, just I can't even handle it. Like it lays it out for you so that you feel like you can kind of step into it, you know, and get used to it. I think the teachers will realize that it is teacher friendly.
And I did sit down with my team last year, two of which are still with me. And we went through the benchmark curriculum before I piloted it. They were excited about it. I did tell them that, you know, I was coming here tonight, and they said, good, let's get something in there because, you know, as Karen mentioned, it's not, what we have now is not a good flow. So you have to supplement that curriculum in order to make it work. Or which Mark, I really don't foresee that need.
Thank you.
And I think that's a great question, Martha. That's going to be my question. I think there's a little bit of hunger for something like this in the district, which is a good thing, a need that we're filling. And I appreciate the insight into the professional development plan because that is obviously the hardest thing about implementing curriculum, like we saw with the math curriculum. There was some angst about it and need to have more time to implement that curriculum. So I appreciate the plan. My question is more about how this might be for some of the administrators in the room, maybe not for you guys in particular, but because it's been so long since we had a new curriculum and teachers get set in their ways, everybody does, not just teachers, get set in their ways. I can foresee some teachers saying, that's great, this is the district curriculum, but I'm going to keep using the same thing that I've been using working for me for years. How do we ensure that teachers across the district are following the curriculum, using the curriculum, and making sure they're having the vertical alignment from grade level to grade level in each building across the district? How do we do that part? And maybe, I don't know who wants to answer that, but.
I'm happy to start, and then if there's more. So part of our student plan, so that's very real and very necessary to address. So even to a point of de-implementation, to pull back what we might have there so that it doesn't muddy the waters of what it is that we're doing. And there are things that we are tried and true that we love, but in looking at our data, we need to be consistent and we need to make sure that for our students we have resources. So a process of de-implementation, as we start to strategically plan, our implementation team will meet in the spring, here soon, pending approval. And some of the conversations of that strategic plan will be how to address that. The team will have an administrator from each site. Success truly, like our building leaders are key in this. And so that support, and they've been part of the adoption process as well. So they've been coming along with us and they'll continue through that. So discussing de-implementation and then also in those strategic planning, really thinking about guardrails, what's firm, what's flexible, how do we do first year in implementing a new curriculum, we really do need to do it well so that we can evaluate how it is. So it is, as Monica mentioned, it's going to be a lift, anything new is, and getting a high quality curriculum is going to be, but with that strategic plan, thinking about guardrails, having our support of our administrators, then help support that. And it's a continuous process to do so through some of that de-implementation. So I don't know if there's other administrators that want to speak to that.
Well, I foresee myself, and I've done this with our math curriculum, where I say, I'm going to come in for an observation, this is what I want to see, and then they know that's what I'm looking for, so then you can maybe fake it once, but when I come in multiple times to see it, it's hard to, I must start doing it because that's what we're looking for. Or I'll be like, hey, you're not doing this, when are you doing this, so I can come watch.
Yeah, and is that a practice that we expect across the district? Okay. Can you just say yes so I can hear that out?
It will be a district expectation.
I know it is. I'm just
yeah.
being a little facetious, but again, I know that's the hardest part of this is you find what works, it works well, you get the results you get, and then somebody comes in and says, well, let's try this other new thing, right? It may be a great resource. I'm excited about it. I think I was excited last year. I think it will be a great resource, and it's something that we've needed for a long time. So I think it's a really good step in the right direction. I do have a question just about the financial piece of it. I know tonight we're not voting to approve the curriculum. This is just mostly informational for us. We'll be looking at that vote in about a month, I think, at our March meeting. Will we have any sense of the grant opportunities before that meeting?
Okay. I don't have a date exactly. My hope that we will.
Okay.
That is our hope, but not guaranteed.
Sure, yeah, okay.
Can I add to that, though? I do want to call out the work that Karen and Tammy have done to go proactively find resources. That all started late 2025. And the grant that Karen has put in would take care of the first year cost, plus a lot of the professional development. So it's a huge benefit for us in a different place than we would have had we adopted this last spring. So I just want to call out the work both Tammy and Karen have done to go after that, what I think is proactive dollars like that.
No, this is great. I think you guys are doing a lot of great work. Very exciting. Thank you all.
Yeah, big thanks. I know every time we do a curriculum change, the amount of work that goes in to get it to this spot is pretty tremendous. We're not seeing the full iceberg here, are we? So we appreciate all the work and everybody who was a part of the team. Please pass that along as well. Any other questions for these guys?
I do, like, this is a lot of material, but I do think it's cool to see that sometimes when you get curriculum, you don't get to see handouts as you're just going off of what's presented. So I think this is helpful to get more insight into what it may look like.
You have to have more if you want to get.
You know, I think I might be okay.
For anyone interested in exploring.
I always remember, I think it was a social studies curriculum 3 or 4 years ago, and we were doing, I can't even remember what we were doing. But we had gone, I want to say it might have been in negotiations, but we went back into the space that was the coaches. And I mean, you couldn't even sit down. I mean, there were just stacks and stacks of books from different.
To ask Scott and Tammy for a closet. So.
I mean, it was insane how much was in there. It looked like a Barnes & Noble warehouse, distribution warehouse. Well, thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so yeah, we have plenty to review on that. This will come back to us at our March 4th meeting. Does anybody need a break? I know that went a little long and we didn't do our recess. Does anybody need a break? If not, we'll move on. Our next item of special business is our approval of the new industry certificates, concurrent enrollment opportunities, and CPE courses. Dr. Al, are you running us on this?
I believe Superintendent Nielsen is going to go ahead and start.
Okay.
I think this is, as we think about this, is an annual activity for us as we continue as a district to look at all those areas, the certifications, the concurrent enrollment, and the state-approved courses. And this year we have just a couple of new industry certifications. You can see those in that document in yellow. We have a couple of new courses that we're talking about for concurrent enrollment. I have to just put a plug in. I'm super excited that we're going to have Spanish 3 as a concurrent enrollment. I think that's a nice addition to what we already have there. And then there's 5 new state-approved courses. So, so if there are questions, Dr. Albert's here to help us with questions, but you can see in front of you what the proposals are.
I think I would just add We are at 18 pathways right now, including the middle school exploratory program, and next year we'll be adding in 2 more. The spring CTE advisory board meeting, you'll have invitations soon, but will be March 25th, and so I'll talk more about that at that time. But based upon student interest, we'll be adding in a resources energy pathway, which is also within agriculture. And we'll be adding in digital marketing as a pathway, which is also then within the business area. So you'll see some courses then on, on the courses, those are within that realm. We'll only be adding in 1 class for the natural resources next year, and you'll see the business courses that would be added in would also be concurrent enrollment classes as well through AIMS. We will not have to make any FTE additions for these requests, just so you know. Things like fundamental accounting is going to be changed from a 2-semester course to a 1-semester course. So then that leaves openings in the scheduling the way it is now. So we'll be able to provide different options for students, and the courses that we'll run will be based upon that as well. You'll notice the baking and pastry as a specialty area. We'll invite you for as many judging opportunities as we can.
Great Weld RE-5J Bake Off.
Yeah, yeah.
Weekly edition.
And we're really excited to be able to offer that intro to health science. And surveys this past year, about 200 students at Roosevelt said that they were interested in health science pathways. And we still know that students have a lot to learn, with hundreds and hundreds of different jobs within health sciences. We're hoping we'll continue to help them and help us hone in on what to really offer them. So that will be a level 1 course that is open, that we think will really just help support, again, really our direction in the long run as well, if there's another pathway that we do need to add. But like I said, the additional courses and the additional concurrent enrollment with the additional course of Spanish, as well as a guaranteed transfer course, we won't have to be requesting any additional FTE for next year to make those things happen. And we never know what will make the master schedule, right, based on student interest. But those are really the new things that we're looking at adding in, and then the industry certificates. Those are 2 new ones that, again, between the College Workforce Development Council on that CDIP list, and then also, of course, with the advice and collaboration of our advisory boards, that they're suggesting would be high demand certificates as gateways to help our students, get into the workplace, and then really be preferred applicants over their peers.
I just have a question, and you kind of answered this. I appreciate you clarifying that we would, with anything that you've presented to us, we wouldn't see a bump in FTE. So all of these classes, are they, I guess my question was, are they being offered in-house, or are any of them coming by way of CDLS or through other partnerships that we already have in place?
These are all courses that would be offered at Roosevelt High School by Roosevelt High School teachers.
Okay. And then my other question was, and I was looking at this one, the food and pastry one, or baking and pastry. I was looking at that, and then that made me think about the all health science one below it, because that's important too, especially if you're really interested in the first one. You got to be cognizant of the second one. Do we have, this is a side question, do we have the capability to, at least at the high school level, take all of our students through CPR training and certification and or AED training as well?
Do we have the capability? We have, we offer sessions, and there's an opportunity, like all of our students get FAST level 1 CPR, AED, and things like that, all within the health science pathway. But some students, aren't choosing that pathway. Right. So we don't currently have an opportunity that's open to any student, if that makes sense. But that opportunity is there within the health science pathways.
And I was thinking more along the lines of, I mean, they still have to take as part of like physical education, do they still have to take a class? Is that an opportunity for us to do that as well? So
I think that's definitely something that we can talk about and ask. There's room for that. And I mean,
it was just a curiosity to me. It seems like such a,
to provide the opportunity.
such a necessary thing, and I mean, it could be a pretty simple lift.
We can definitely look into that. And there's plenty of certificates here, which I didn't highlight, that are new. In addition, on nurse aid, you'll see some additions in addition to just the nurse aid piece. But the basic life support, stop the bleed, Narcan training, those are also new. But we're not like requesting that those are a part of the graduation approval. It's just the yellow that's the new graduation pieces. So, and we, for the others, like I said, there are some other new ones, but those are the only two new that would go towards that menu of demonstrations.
Liam, you had a.
Yeah, I know within the education class, we did have the opportunity to take CPR, and I was able to, it's still certified, and I think it expires probably, they probably already have.
2 years, generally 2 years.
I don't know, can't remember what month that they did, but, there is that opportunity, I don't know if that still exists.
I'm not positive on health, like I said, we can look into that, but you said you had the opportunity.
I had the opportunity, it was completely voluntary, it wasn't, strictly, you had to do it, but I wanted to be a lifeguard for the summer, so I took it, obviously.
Yep.
But it was offered, I don't know if it still exists, I know our athletic trainer was just running a session for it last week, but I don't know if that was for health science kids or kids.
All right,
I
awesome.
have one question, and this might even be for Hayden and Liam. So I'm a parent of a freshman who's very independent, and whenever I sit down to talk to her about courses, she's like, "Mom, I got this. So she doesn't let me participate as much as I want to. So I guess my question is, with all these different.
Me too.
You
It's
too?
fine. It's fine.
It's driving me crazy. So she was looking over her possibilities for classes yesterday, and she's like, "I'll let you know what I choose." But with that being said, are they getting help from their counselors, saying you should explore this option, or we have a certificate in this arena? There's so much to keep track of that sometimes it can almost, which is great. It's a great problem to have. It's a great problem that there's so much to keep track of as far as certification, congruent enrollment. Are they helping them navigate that for the best practice for that student? And maybe you guys have an answer. Maybe Miss Rebecca has an answer.
I'll answer first, and then you can speak maybe to your experiences. I know that that's been a concerted area of effort here in the past year or so, and I think that's adding the new counselor through the grant as well, I think is very helpful in that. There's obviously been an increase in students, obviously, as well at the middle school and the high school. So I do know that they had advisory sections where classes were reviewed. I do not know, I guess I cannot speak to individual meetings at the high school, but I do know then that the high school has admin and teachers also going down to the middle school that had the open house night. And then we also have marketing materials, of course, that are out as well. And that section of our website is very up to date for parents to look at. And I would really strongly encourage parents, I'm not sure what the number is, I haven't looked at that as far as accessibility, but Zello also has the opportunity for parents to get into the portal and check out what their students have when it comes to like the career surveys and things like that. Parents can't go in and change things, but parents can definitely go in and take a look. And so I don't know what the number is currently as far as how many parents have access, but there is an opportunity definitely for that collaboration and things to occur. I know, like I said, there's been, like I said, a concerted effort, I guess I would say, on the counseling team here within the past year. And I think with the addition of the counselor that's helping as well. I don't know if there have been one-on-one meetings this year. You two would have to speak to that.
We have not had, actually, I will take that back. I haven't had an individual meeting because I'm active and do it on my own. Now, for every other kid, yes, they have had the chance to meet with their counselor, almost every kid, unless they're high achieving, super achieving, where they're so proactive or that they don't need it because they're not high risk, or they're just at the bottom of the alphabet for some reason. But I think almost every kid has met with someone, and if they haven't, they will meet this semester. That's almost guaranteed. And I know Timmy's kind of reiterated that throughout the year, but they will have a chance, maybe even twice, especially there, kind of having questions about classes, maybe it's making final decisions like, oh, well, actually, maybe this class is better with what I want to do next year. So I think they might even have 2 or 3 options this semester, but definitely one, and they will be forced to go to one.
How are they deciding who gets these meetings? Because I am not having that experience at all. So I don't know if they think the kids that don't need help aren't going to get it, but your child will be one that probably someone would have, this child does not need help. She has active parents. Well, you're trying to be an active parent.
She's trying. I'm trying.
My kids might get mad. My kids don't take when they ask for them. So I sit down with my daughter and a group of her friends because she's interested in doing the CNA, and talk to her about the different pathways if you want to go military with it. This is how you can get your CNA, and then you can go into nursing, or you can be a nurse practitioner, and you can go that pathway, or you can, if you want to go to a 4-year college, if you want to get your CNA through the school and go work for UC Health for a year, they'll pay for your RN. They know none of that, and that's not on you. I don't mean that. You're providing the pathways for them, but you can't individually sit down with each of these kids. So I think there's a need for us to go and tell them what these pathways mean for them, for the kids whose parents don't know. I know all that stuff because I've lived it. Other parents don't. But my kids have gotten amazing services through the CTA, our CTE pathway, and provided a wonderful spaghetti dinner. Last Saturday, I had a gaggle of girls over that made spaghetti meatballs. Everything homemade. They've been in your classes. So I think we have these amazing programs, and they're all new, and we're going to need some volunteers. We're going to need to provide help to you to let the kids know what they can do with these pathways. The kids that aren't in them yet, why they should be in them. That's my spiel, Monica. I'm kind of frustrated with it, quite frankly. I've talked to Scott, I've talked to.
So one of the things I think we can do for the board is, I think your question to start with is how, right? How are they deciding? So what we'll work with the high school to put together is, what's the expectation? How is it decided on? And then we'll ask for data, because Dave's tracking who's meeting and who's not, and we'll provide that to the board in a Friday update. Does that sound?
But I mean, I shouldn't have a child that has to see her principal to get a meeting with her counselor.
Yeah,
and Frau actually is who's helping Ava with a bunch of stuff. So you have teachers that are stepping in. They have great resources that are helping our kids, but we need more. Yeah. We need, just because we think a kid might have all the tools doesn't mean they.
Well said.
So over the past, maybe month even, we have been able to is our advisory classes have been increased. We've had, we had another one yesterday. We usually just have them once a week on Fridays. If it's a 4-day week because of a holiday or PD day, we won't have one. But over the past month or so, I think we might even have had 4 or 5, I think, advisory classes, and they've been meant for kids to be able to learn what pathways we have. 2 of those days were for kids to go around the entire school and learn each CTE pathway. They got to pick one each day, one that they were interested in. It was posted prior. Advisory teachers in the advisory class before that were able to show them within 45 minutes kind of what each looked like. There were videos that teachers put out within those pathways. So that was great. I think kids got to learn a lot about them because now they're signing up for classes, as you guys may know. That has definitely helped them kind of choose those classes, kind of what they're passionate about. And now they have more information because they were actually be able to have that presentation from that teacher about what class is, that course description, what those electives look like. But that was definitely helpful. Now we definitely have room to grow within individual one-on-ones. It's of course going to be a lot more valuable. It's going to be tailored to that kid, what their needs are, more than a 45-person presentation. But I think it was very helpful for the services of kids to be able to then go in that meeting with that counter. And instead of it being 45 minutes of oh, I don't know what I want to do. Okay, well, now let's give you a rundown of everything. They actually have, 2 or 3 ideas of, oh, I like this pathway, I like this one. It's like, oh, now let's build your course schedule for next year around those 2 or 3 things. So I definitely really appreciate what work you have been able to do for us and to get that going with all the other CTE teachers. But I would love for us to kind of figure out something that we can do to get every kid, because they all deserve a meeting.
I think what you're talking about is exactly why Reagan and some of her friends were interested with the presentation. So that would work for them to ask the right questions and yeah, huge benefit from that.
Can I add 2 things to that? First of all, I wanted to point out that we talked about this certain issue at a superintendent's advisory meeting. We were given a chart that was gonna be published it was like last year's CTE pathways and how everything flowed, kind of, and like what classes entailed what, the prereqs, everything. I think it was the traditional one we had on the website. And at that meeting, the students suggested that we make kind of a flow chart. Kids who, and like, yes, this doesn't replace the one-on-one conversations that are needed, but it certainly helps, especially like maybe parents to understand. We suggested a flow chart of like, okay, if you take intro to environmental sciences, you can go on this path, which I don't know what the different paths are because I'm not in environmental sciences, but or like if you're like business, let's say that. That's something I know. If you take personal finance, which is a level 1 course, you can go into the accounting or finance track and take this class next year, or you can go into like a marketing pathway. And so we suggested kind of like a flow chart, kind of like that, to see what your options are if you take what classes. I don't know if anything is like came of that, but there's definitely some discussions that the students and superintendents have been having. The second thing is I had a meeting early last semester with Dr. Albert, and that was one of my concerns. I was like, this has been an issue for a while. At that point, we'd already addressed it with the student advisory council. That's why like the routine was starting to change a little at that point. But Dr. Albert and I talked about ways to make it more accessible to the students, and the efforts that the district and administration at RHS is making to make sure all these kids get met with. And so it's definitely been in the conversations, and I just wanted to reiterate that.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that, and I like a lot. And I've had parents that have asked me, my kid wants to do, I don't know, welding or something, and how do they figure out exactly what to take? And what you're talking about would help them with that, with parents and those parents that are involved that can do that legwork. That would give them the tools, I think. I remember you talking.
I think we're also hoping too that with the website being, it's very up to date. It's actually up to date for next year. That all of those things are also there. So I think you'll notice even on all of the new flyers that there's a QR code to go back there. So if you end up picking up a flyer about CNA and you suddenly end up over here in the business administration realm, everything there is up to date. And I know that there was a time period where I think that was a barrier for us as well, that not being up to date, in the older website. But things in that area are ready to go, and I think I think with design of the website and things too, I think it's easy to follow. But I think we have to do some work to get people back to the website, because sometimes when things don't work as well, for a period of time, then people stop going. But what's there's plenty there, I think, now, but now we have to get people to go back and check it out.
I think you've done a great job of streamlining everything. All the new programs, everything's on you. I think you've done a great job of it.
Thank you. I hope that we'll keep, being able to find things and provide more choices, more opportunities for the student.
Any other questions?
You should get your daughter on the food pathway. That's just been up the line. They cook so much, it's crazy.
Okay, well, Can't take action on this evening. There is kind of a recommended motion in the packet.
I will move to approve the new industry certificates, concurrent enrollment opportunities, and new career and technical courses as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Vice President Sassano, a second by Director Musgrave to approve the new industry certificates, concurrent enrollment opportunities, and career and technical education courses as presented. Any further discussion?
I do have one quick thing, and I think it's more for Scott than for you, so if you want to stop. My fear, this is great. We have a lot of options for students, and that's wonderful. We will continue to add more options that they're asking for. My fear is some of those students that Hayden and Liam were talking about that look at the list of classes in their in their 8th grade year, really, and it almost becomes a paradox of choice, right? It's almost decision paralysis because there's so much available. And as an 8th grader, you go, I don't know what I want to do. So I want to look at the business classes. I want to look at the health sciences classes. I want to look at all these options. So I think we're uncovering a need to maybe find some way to have even incoming freshmen have a dedicated meeting with a counselor or an administrator or somebody. I know that didn't happen for my senior year. Well, it didn't happen 4 years ago when she was a freshman. And I don't know what's changed in that time for incoming freshmen because I haven't experienced it. But that's my concern, is that we start to create this almost paradox of choice with all this, all these options that are really great for students and for the community. So I just want to make sure we're keeping that in kind of the forefront, that we give potential students all the options, and their parents, even if they won't let you. You have the way to look at all the options and determine what is the best course for your student.
So, yeah, Director Sassano, I appreciate that. And one of the things I can tell you is Roosevelt, I think, got some feedback after last year's income in 9th grade. They tweaked some things this year, but one of the major ones that I watched, I was at the launch last week with income in 9th grade families. They turned it around. So in the past, they would go visit the middle school and give them the course requests. And then a week or so later, they had the incoming freshman night. Well, many students had already picked what they were doing by that point, right? Had already gone through. Parents were saying they didn't even see it. So Mr. Benson and his team flipped that around, and they did the incoming freshman night last week, where they talked openly about all the pathways. They did, I thought, a really nice job of trying to define like concurrent enrollment and talking about getting away a little bit from jargon, but talking about students being able to take college level courses while in high school. But there was more concrete delivery around what's possible. Then they got to go look at everything. They got to go see all the pathways, and then and take with them the course registration. And then this week they're going out as a builder. I mean, the high school staff will be out, counselors and administrators will be out to talk to students about what they are. So that likely will have a different outcome, but I think we'll have to see, does it meet the needs?
Yeah, I think that's a great step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the right answers are. I want to avoid this as much as possible. And I mean, we have a counseling department for a reason, and that's part of what they're supposed to do. But I also know we have 1,300, almost 1,400 students at Roosevelt. So 5 counselors, I think. That's a lot to have each, meet with 300 incoming freshmen. So I don't know what the right answers are, but I just want to make sure we don't lose sight of the fact that we need to make sure that everybody understands all their options before they come in, and we don't create that decision paralysis for students.
And Superintendent Nielsen, I think a new form that they added this year in response to that too was they provided still an opportunity to explore and show everything, but I think counselors also then started to give the freshmen a pared down sheet, which was, this is what's available to you as a freshman. Yes, there's CNA, and yes, we want to know the path exists, but to stop that paralysis, I think they also tried to create a new document that was, we have this,
but here's really what you're looking at as a freshman, opportunities, I think, to help pare down some of that. So hopefully that will support what your, you know, your concern as well.
Great, thank you.
And I think of us with juniors, seniors, we're part of the growing thing of this, learning what we need to do differently. And I think that Reagan, my freshman, is having a much different experience than my junior and senior. So the improvements and we're all learning, you know, everyone's learning what we need to do, be trying to meet needs. I think I'm having, I know I'm having a very different experience with my younger child than with my older. So we definitely fine-tuned.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just one comment. I guess one thing we have done, or planning to do, we did this last year as well, actually. With our incoming freshmen, we have had representative students, which is that we have kind of come to the conclusion that students are more valuable when giving a presentation than adults are. Especially, you know, middle schoolers look up to high schoolers a lot, and when a high schooler comes in and kind of inspires them to kind of do this idea, do these classes, that is kind of one thing that we've kind of looked at and discovered that is a good idea. So we're planning on continuing that this year. So kids within CT pathways that are high up in the 3s and 4s can come in and give those presentations. But I do see, I mean, the real problem is that it's dawning on the students, but also the parents. They look at, you know, we have maybe 20 pathways now. They're like, so I have to decide now. My 4 years are dictated by my decision my freshman year. Because you mean you gotta, if you want to get to that level 4 to get to that work-based learning, you kind of have to do 4 years to get there. So that's one of the things that we're trying to, I guess, try to overcome. I mean, I would love to kind of work through that and kind of some way to ease the difficulties of what parents see and work through that. Because yeah, I mean, it will take 3 or 4 years to get to that work-based learning, but one way that we can ease the stress of that decision. I would love the idea of a one-on-one meeting with incoming freshmen. Logistics of that would be very challenging, but I think it would be a really good opportunity for students to have. Now, I would also be kind of suspicious of kind of how enthusiastic the kids would be. I mean, they're 8th graders, they're 13, and they might be crazy passionate about something, but they also might not be. They might not be very excited about high school. They don't know what they want to do. So I don't know how valuable that could be. I know parents would probably love it. Great opportunity for passionate students. You know, at the open house, I was able to talk to some very passionate students, kids who wanted to be public defenders, and they're 13 and they have their entire life planned out, and it was amazing to talk to them. There's other kids who were very cautious of joining things. And I would love to work through how we could definitely prep these families for coming into freshman year, because it's daunting looking at it. But I would love one-on-one. I think it's a great idea.
Okay. Anything else? Mr. Agana?
Monica Johnson,
Yes.
Amanda Proctor,
Yes.
Kate Stefano,
Yes.
Amy Mestry, Michael Vick.
Yes. We'll move on to our first item of new business, and that is the first reading of amendment to policy BEDB. Scroll to your right, BDEB-E. And so this is the policy that we asked, or we talked about at our last work session. Essentially, we're taking this final item in our agenda that currently says other items deemed necessary by the board and changing that to future agenda item requests. Have we had any feedback on the first reading? Okay, I would entertain a motion on.
No motion, it's just first reading.
Huh?
It's just first reading, isn't it?
Well, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I apologize. So we are going to change kind of how we're doing first readings. According to our policy, we actually are supposed to vote on first readings to essentially carry them to the second reading. So if you look at that, the motion that's suggested there, it kind of spells that out clearly. But yeah, we just want to make sure that we're staying consistent with policy. So.
I'll make a motion that the proposed amendments to policy BEDB/E brought back for a second reading with any revisions as appropriate based on feedback received.
Second.
We have a motion by Director Johnson, a second by Vice President Sassano to bring the amendment back for a second reading. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, Ms. Diagana.
Monica Johnson,
Yes.
Amanda Proctor,
Yes.
Dean Sasano,
Yes.
Amy Musgrave, Michael Vick.
Yes. Do we have any citizen comments on general topics? Okay, we do have an opportunity for an executive session this evening. And we have we do need a motion for that. Yeah, we have it.
Do you want me to make that
I
motion now?
was just, yeah. Oh, you have it.
I don't have. It's the actual motion. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
it's the thing with the star on
I
it.
got it, yep. I'm going to make a motion to enter into executive session to confer with the school district attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute, Section 24-6-402, 4B, regarding the school district's interest and authority with respect to the proposed Johnstown Downtown Development Authority. Somebody should say.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Vice President Sassano, a second by Director Musgrave to enter into executive session as stated in the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so we will convene our regular meeting, go into a short recess. Obviously, our student board representatives, if you guys want to, we don't have any business following this, so you guys are free to leave. Are we going to stay in here?